Are you feeling bored, angry, or sad with the Denver Broncos offseason? Well, if so, I'm about to shake things up because I think the Denver Broncos have had a low-key, incredible offseason. I am pushing back on the narrative that we are tanking for Shedeur Sanders. I think we have made some serious steps forward. We're going to break it all down in this video. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ben. I talk all things Denver sports. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan, and if you are here for this competitive rebuild, it helps me out a ton if you would like and subscribe. So I had a poll out there the other day about like, hey, how y'all feeling about this Broncos team in this offseason? And only 19% of you said you were feeling great. A lot of you were sad because we lost Justin Simmons. Yeah, that was sad. You were bored because we only had 2 big signings, or you were angry. A lot of reasons for anger with this what George Payton has done. But man, I'm just asking you, leave what's in the rear view, and let's try to look at this objectively. And if I'm totally off base, if I'm like your vegan friend who like finds a reason to prove everything, like why you shouldn't eat meat, or your CrossFit friend who's like, yeah, that's why I do CrossFit, for anything you talk to him about, let me know in the comments. But I'm going to break down why I think the Denver Broncos had a low-key, awesome offseason. So we saw today, Denver Broncos had this massive cap hit that they had to take. How are we going to do it? Are we going to try to delay the inevitable and like keep piecemealing it? No, that's what's gotten us in the problem. Instead, we take the big hit right now, and even with that big hit, we took the bulk of that $85 million. We took 53 this year on our cap, and that's a gut punch. But I still think that we got better, and I'm going to show you why. I love this tweet from @RespectMyCos or Cos. I don't know, Michael. Shout out to you, because this is exactly how I'm feeling. Is that the NFL better pray that Sean Payton does not find his quarterback at number 12, because if he does, and I think he will, he told us he will. He told us we're going to be good at this, and we're thankful that no one else in the league is going to be good at this. And they aren't. First-round draft picks, quarterbacks, hit on a 36% rate, so he's not wrong. They don't usually work, and I'm going to take him at his word, and if he's wrong, we'll get somebody else, but we got to trust the guy we have. We got to trust that the smartest owner in sports is paying him $20 million a year for a reason. He's one of the highest paid coaches in the sport. And if you look at this, if we find our quarterback in this draft next offseason, a year from right now, we're going to be going into the next year with more money than we even know how to spend. We're going to have $100 million in cap space, the richest owner in sports, new uniforms, like maybe a downtown area, maybe we rebuild the stadium and like make it this Broncoville and awesome like Jerry's World. Who knows what's going to happen? But I totally agree with this statement that I don't think we took massive step backs. Let's look at who we lost and who we brought in and why those aren't massive step backs. So the first thing is we heard everyone like giving props to the Raiders because they signed Christian Wilkins and he was a high-priced free agent. They're giving him like one of the 3rd highest contracts ever to a non-quarterback, and everyone's like, oh, that's going to be scary. But look at like Zach Allen restructured his deal, a very team-friendly deal, and he is not that far behind, and he's the 2nd-ranked pressure leader for interior defensive linemen. In addition to that, who else did we bring in? Well, I'll get to that here in a second. The next thing is we also went out, and yes, we lost Justin Simmons. That was a big loss as a team leader, as a fixture of our community. But we brought in Brandon Jones. He's going to be rocking Kareem's number, just looking awesome. And the last 9 weeks of the NFL season, he was one of the top-ranked safeties in the league. The passer rating against him was comical, going against great quarterbacks like Mahomes and Allen, and he was ranked ahead of Justin Simmons in the PFF rankings. And as much as this sounds blasphemous to say, it is crazy to me that we are this far into free agency and no one has made a run at Justin Simmons. Everyone said, oh, Vic Fangio and the Eagles will trade the Broncos a 2nd-round draft pick. We couldn't get anything for our 2nd-best player, and I think that speaks a lot to really how he is valued, that Justin Simmons, he sounds like maybe the Titans will make a run at him, but the fact that we're this far along into free agency and he hasn't gotten picked up, and we got a guy who's ranked ahead of him in Pro Football Focus, I just think that's not the massive step back that everyone said it was going to be. So first off, we have the exact same, almost exact same talent level here at the interior defensive line. We already know Barrett Browning is just going to further hit his stride next year. Benito was looking more and more unstoppable. Are we going to let Drew Sanders finally loose? That's all very, very exciting. The other reason to be super up on this team is that we saw the comical meme with all the Broncos quarterbacks who were crossed out. And Sean Payton said, our job is to make sure the next guy isn't crossed out. And so we didn't make a run at Darnold. We didn't make a run at Gardner Minshew. And all these names who people keep floating of as like, oh, maybe we'll get Sam Howell. Well, Sam Howell just signed a deal to go somewhere else. We heard Desmond Ridder might be here, and he gets traded to the Cardinals. So it does not seem like Sean Payton just wants to put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. Instead, he's ripping off the Band-Aid of that cap hit and truly is doing a competitive rebuild, because we're rebuilding and shedding top-end salary, but we're not losing that much talent, and I feel very strongly about that. So like I said, looked like the Falcons might be trying to move Desmond Ridder, but he went to the Cardinals. He's not coming here, and instead it was just Cardinals swapped a wide receiver for Desmond Ridder. So he's not coming here. Sam Howell is not coming here, as he went to the Seahawks, which brings up the question of like, where is Justin Fields going to end up? Because all I had been reading was Justin Fields might be moving to the Seahawks, which that is probably off the table now. So it truly seems like Justin Fields will be a backup quarterback does he go to the Cowboys? There's a lot of stuff circulating now with Dak at the end of his deal, and now an allegation of maybe assault. So maybe is he going there? Will he back up in Philly, back up Zach Ertz, or Hertz rather? So here, Diana Rossini is usually pretty plugged in, and she kind of talked about what the Broncos are going to do, and are we maybe in the running for a Jimmy Garoppolo, Ryan Tannehill bridge quarterbacks, or Justin Fields? I mean, if we could get Justin Fields, there's even rumors that Justin Fields could get straight up cut. There's no way Chicago can go into next year with Caleb Williams when it's evident that Justin Fields owns that locker room. The players love him. So Caleb Williams wouldn't have a shot at winning over that locker room. So you don't draft him number one overall without moving on from Justin. So I think you could get him for a 7th round pick, or maybe they cut him. And if not, I have zero interest in that. I think he's just a much better version of Russell Wilson. Sean Payton needs a system quarterback who hits guys on time, not someone who thrives when the play breaks down. So the last two reasons why you should be hopeful and not be too down is I just showed you Zach Allen is super top rated. We kept DJ Jones, a great player in the defense, and then we brought in Roquan as well. So the last thing that I wanted to go over right here is the Denver Broncos have a crazy, crazy advantage. And if you've spent any time in Colorado, if you've come from out of state, your first 2 or 3 days of being in Colorado, you're winded. It's why the Nuggets have such a great home record. But there's also a part of early on in NFL seasons that the Denver Broncos just own our home record. And if you look, this article is pretty old, but at one point we were rocking a 49-8-2 home game winning streak to start the year. One of the reasons Mike Shanahan got ran out of town was like he always won early, and then we kind of petered off. And people say that that's because when you are starting the NFL season, you are not in the greatest shape. They don't allow two-a-days in pads, and so guys come into the season not in perfect shape. And so then you add on top of that altitude advantage we have. We know that Sean Payton didn't hit his stride until after our bye week. We know that it wasn't until that 5-game winning streak that his system was even implemented enough for us to start to evaluate it. We finished the season very strong, and I think that is a reason to be hopeful that now that same momentum we had at the end of the season, if we start the season with that paired with our home field advantage, that's fantastic. And then we have the winningest coach in the month of October. So we have this crazy advantage in the month of August, or in the month of September, because of our home field advantage. And then you pair that with the winningest coach in October. And I just do not feel like we are taking the massive step back that everyone thinks that we're going to. But if I'm totally off in left field, let me know in the comments. It is fantastic riding with you. And I know that this channel is full of a bunch of Broncos supporters who want the best. And I don't think that we have to wait for the best. I think we are going to be very encouraged by next NFL season. Hope you all keep riding with me. And Broncos country, we're giddying up. Ooh, I thought I was about to go 2 for 2.